Shrestha.
Yes, can we start?
Yeah, Shrestha, you can start while rest of the people will join.
Oh. I request every participant of the session to kindly mute their mics and turn off their videos for a smooth conduct of the ceremony. Good evening, everyone. I, Shrestha Srivastava from MNIT Jaipur, on behalf of Think India, warmly welcome you all to the evening session of Day 1 of Indgenious Uttisht Bharat Think India Startup and Innovation E-Summit, organized from 1st to 7th November 2020 in collaboration with All India Council for Technical Education, Software Technology Parks of India, Institutions Innovation Council, Ministry of Education, Innovation Hub, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, Gujarat Technological University, and MNIT Innovation and Incubation Center. Think India is honored to have such wonderful change makers from the healthcare sector of the startup and entrepreneurship ecosystem. Without any delay, I am honored to introduce our first speaker of the session. We have with us Sir Siddharth Nair, founder at Exfinito Biodesigns. Sir is a technologist, entrepreneur, and researcher. Sir founded Exfinito Biodesigns Private Limited with an aim to develop cost-effective designs with multidisciplinary focus around the healthcare, technologies, robotics, electronics, and automobile. At Exfinito Biodesigns, they work with challenging health problems having global prevalence and follow structured yet flexible problem solving processes with an aim to come up with innovative and holistic solutions that are affordable and accessible to all. With a warm welcome, I request you to take the session forward, sir.
Thank you, Shrestha, for kind of a detailed introduction. So, guys, I would like to make this session more interactive, and at the same time, I would like to take it as a story rather than just talking about my work. So, let me be informal so that it doesn't seem to be like a class session per se. So how? So basically, I was just like a student, like any normal student studying engineering, having aspirations of getting into R&D, doing some good job, etc., etc., etc. So that's how I graduated back in 2011. And as soon as I graduated, I did get a good job in Infosys. I didn't take it because my field was biomedical, and somehow I didn't want to switch because I thought I was in an opinion that I can do a lot in the field. So I chose not to go for it and rather take up a job, in my segment. And I got a good job, which took me abroad, which took me at various places, and life was fun actually. And that's when the reality and the entire things that something is aligned for you, it will happen. Yeah, that's what happened exactly. And 12, what happened is, unfortunately, my mom got first retinopathy. That is, her retina got detached, and thereby she needed a surgery. So we took her. The surgery went on well. It was successful. Of course, her color vision got completely off, but she had about 25-30% of vision. The surgery got over within 3 days. What happened is her right leg got completely numb, and she was not able to walk. And she was always in pain. And coming from middle class family, just affording physiotherapy and the costly medicine that were around was kind of impossible. And that's when I chose that I should take things on my hand. At the end of the day, I had studied that, right? So thankfully, I cleared gate. That story is a different story for some other day. But yeah, thankfully, I cleared gate by chance. I would say I did not prepare or anything. And when all these things happened, luckily only one university was accepting admissions via gate, and that was Anna University, right, which is in Tamil Nadu. So somehow by luck there was one seat in general category because I come from other states. It's an open competition, and I had a decent rank, not great, but luckily I got that one seat. And that became my stepping point where I started to utilize the lab facilities, etc. and started to build a solution, for my mom. And that's when the entire journey of the startup started. And when I first built my solution, it was just going on, and it looked like interesting. And luckily, we made a good prototype and a small red box. That's all. It was kind of an electrical stimulator, which could actually modulate the neurons in your body, right? And luckily, we gave it to my mom. It was safe enough. We tested it. It was fine. It could be used. And when she started to use, she was not responding to the treatment. And it was almost 4 weeks and no response from her side. But I could sense that there is some sensation going on, because when you place the electron in your hand, you will feel the sensation. And luckily, in 5th week onwards, her toes started to respond. Her toes started to slowly start moving, and that's when we saw the magic happening of how a person with almost 1.5 years of disability now started to feel good about it, and she could see her toes started to move, and that was a turning point in my life that needed took us to my first startup Fiesta, where we thought we should do this chronic pain management. Of course, that was driven by the success that we had with mom, and we were really novice when it comes to business, and we didn't understand what is entrepreneurship. However, we took a plunge, didn't try to wait for it. We just took a plunge. We made a lot of mistakes on the way. Technically, we were successful, product was working, but business, we were failure. We didn't have any clue how we are going about. And finally, the startup failed. At the end, it had to, and it failed. And then I took up a PhD at IISc Bangalore, and I'm in my final stages of PhD right now. And while PhD, I was trying to understand what was the mistake that happened during the startup. And my whole research is around medical device innovations and how to take your innovation to the next level, etc. And while finding, I found out that I did not make big mistakes, but it's just that I did not know to be in the right place at right time. And that's from that learning, we started this new startup called as Excelento Biodesigns, with the same aim of providing intelligent connected systems that could provide affordable and accessible healthcare, and with a vision that we keep innovating for the future of global healthcare. So that's how we started. And now, what exactly Excelento does? Again, I have a new story for you to speak. So guys, this is Dave, so you can see Dave is nice, obese, in his 20s, and things like that. And Dave has basically, Dave is a, kind of a scientist, or kind of someone who really works a desk job and not really have a physical activity. He's smart, clever, workaholic and everything, right? However, he loves watching sports, and he used to play cricket and football for a while in his early 20s. But as and when the job comes up, he got busy, and at the end of the day, he couldn't pursue it further, right? And so he started to love watching, started to sit and watch sports on his couch. Unfortunately, given the lifestyle that he's obese, he's not active, he went into diet, right? And that's very common among obese people to have diabetes. And Dave is among 463 million people across the globe who have diabetes, and 77 million of them are in India. So that's what Dave is all about, right? So of course, when Dave went to various doctors advised him to lose weight, try to control his medicines, control his food, etc. So Dave started to do various exercise, but every time he starts exercising, he ends up injuring himself. And when he injures, what happens? He can't be active anymore, and thereby he again goes and sits on his couch. And instead of losing weight, he ends up gaining his weight, right? And that story of almost everyone, including me, right? So this is how an obese people's life goes on. And if you see that, like, with diabetes coming in picture, obese coming in picture, so there is a good chance that people like Dave can have foot ulcers and neuropathy, which is degeneration of nerve due to diabetes. And foot ulcer is your ulcer in your foot, which will actually help, which can create conditions like amputation going in future, right? There are a lot of options like passive footwears, which could kind of regulate your pressure. There are some insoles, there are some vibrators. However, none of this really helps Dave, because at the end, whenever he tries to get active, he gets injured, right? So a typical life of a diabetic obese goes, be it a boy, be it a girl, it's the same case, right? Obese generally leads to diabetes, and that's when we thought, okay, we should do something very different. And our solution was a three-prong approach, where first was kind of making a smart and intelligent footwear which could actually monitor the pressure, look at the temperature of food, see the sensory response of the food, so that the nerve condition can be monitored, and at the same time, while Dave keeps walking, monitor how he walks, so that we could help him to understand where he's going wrong and give him a vibratory stimulus which could prevent him from getting injured and leading a uh, active life. So that's one part of it. Second part of the solution was is a platform called as XLive. It's an internal name, not an external name right now. So this platform, what happens is almost every time, I don't know how many of you have seen this problem, but obese people have the issue of they become having putting on more weight rather than reducing weight. And not only obese, even people who start getting disabled, like, and that's a big problem that everywhere. So that's why we are coming up with a platform called as XLive, which would be actually operated by people who are disabled and who cannot get into the workforce again. So these people will actually operate it and motivate people like Dave and others who are in that verge of disability to come out of their disability, at the same time help them recover themselves, having a patient support group around them. Also, this platform would help them in getting kind of affordable medical devices by subscription rentals, so that the upfront cost is almost equal to zero. So that's what is the platform for XLive. And then there will be an intelligent system which could actually monitor each and every part of it. So this is how the smart footwear would look like, a good looking footwear, because normally if you take anyone who is a kind of ill doesn't like to be termed as ill, right? And if you give them a bulky looking, bad looking footwear, which you had seen earlier in the slides, no one is going to use it. So we thought, okay, we should make it look really aesthetically good so that people adopt it. And that's what the footwear is, which would acquire all the signals. There would be some real-time data storage, there would be some machine learning happening, so that we could prevent and predict foot ulcers and other diseases around it. And we will be using digital twin models so that our analysis are way better. And our application doesn't stop at this. We'll be expanding towards orthopedics, such that people who have had their hip implants, knee implants, rods, etc., for them this shoe could be a really useful one to help them regain their gait and at the same time help them walk properly. An app which would be helping patients to understand their condition, and the whole system would be a variable system. And the best part is the user doesn't have to change any of the habit. You wear a footwear, same footwear, only thing is you have sensors in this footwear, and it will keep doing its job without actually intervening or without patient actually interacting with the system much. So that's the whole idea of having a system which is user friendly and having better user experience. So as a team, of course, I am completing my PhD from IISc, have worked with a startup previously, my own startup. I've worked with a couple of good organizations. Amulya, she is my co-founder, who has finished her master's in biomedical engineering from Belgium and has background in biosensors. Prasanna Naya, she's my mom who got disabled because of the condition. So now, as we told that we are going to bring disabled back into the workforce in my XLive. So this is the first step where we are actually bringing my mom back to the workforce. We have Shagun, who is a footwear designer, and she will be helping us in designing a good looking shoes. Prashant helps us in business, and we have again training engineers who are helping us to develop the product. Of course, we can't do anything alone, and we've been incubated at certain places, and we are open for people who would like to explore internship with us. We are open for if you want to do some research along with us, and we are also open for any kind of collaboration that you think someone in your group or in your network can help me to achieve this a wonderful vision. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed a very interesting and interactive session. I would like to ask the audience if they have any questions for sir. Please write your questions in the chat box so that we can take them up.
Thanks, Sulekha.
So I have a question till then anyone asks. How
Yeah,
much
hello.
time did it take you to formulate this proper device of shoe? Like around, because everything you had to take into consideration. So how much time did it take you?
See, once everything was clear, it didn't take us more than 2 months to reach that. But to get that clarity, it took us about 8 months at least. See, as an engineer, for us, making prototypes are the most easiest thing that we can. So, and we all get into that very quickly. But ideally, understanding the ecosystem, looking at how the innovation has to work and solve the problem is very critical. And somehow, as engineers, we miss it. So, I would always recommend all of you, wherever you are trying to think of a startup or looking something like this, please understand your ecosystem really, really, really well, and that is what is going to help you in succeeding in your product or project.
Thank you, sir. Miss Sulekha has a question
Yeah.
in the
So,
chat box. Can these shoes help people have balance issues?
can this shoes people help people have balance
Have
issues?
balance issues.
So, do you mean that people having balance issues can they use the shoes? If that is the case, yes, they could, because we'll be helping them in monitoring the gait, that is how you walk, and thereby help them in recovering their balance once again. And then next question, brief about internship. Pranjal, hi Pranjal. Yeah, so basically, if you are interested in internship, please write to me, said@explainer.com, or just go to our website, apply it from there. Basically, so we look at innovations and how things. So we have minimum like about 3 months where you have to be intern. We'll be taking you through the various processes, and you will be actually kind of helping us build our product and not just learning. Pratik, how do you manage it from IISc? Okay, that's a good question, Pratik. Basically, see, when we are doing our studies, that's the best time we have where we can do so many things, right? Please don't waste your time in college because you literally have a lot of time. Of course, you will be having your assignments, everything, but even after that, you don't have responsibility. So try and squeeze in time and do something really different, and that's what I'm trying to do as well. Uh, yeah. I guess all the questions are answered. No, Ramakrishna,
Rohit sir is asking, how did you manage your funding?
Oh, that's a very tricky thing to ask and also to talk about because funding becomes very critical. But thankfully, I applied for a couple of grants. So we got Nidhi Prayas recently. So that gave us about 10 lakh rupees. And then we had to raise funds multiple rounds. That's going on. And of course, we had to take out a lot of our savings, a lot of borrowing from here and there, using up the credit card, etc. So it's a hard way. But yeah, but everyone has a different journey of raising funds. We all have to figure out how do we go about it. Ramakrishna asked, sir, I'm working in one startup which is developing wireless health, so I want to go with memory chip for Alzheimer's. Uh, uh, I don't know, probably we can catch up later, but I can't answer without having better details of this. Alzheimer's is a totally different thing, and it is all about neuromodulation and wireless strength, and this thing is little different. So we'll talk later on this, no issues. Ayush has a doubt. I have a doubt that how difficult it is to start a tech startup if someone is from commerce side. Ayush, it is of course a tough thing, but see, startup is not made by you alone. You have to have a team. Without team, it doesn't work. So if you are from a commerce background, great. Have a co-founder who has a tech background, but solve a real problem that can help everyone get through it. So that's what I would say, Ayush. So find a good co-founder. Yeah, I guess all questions are answered. At least whatever I can see in the chat is answered.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for making this very interactive and briefing us with your journey throughout. Thank you so much for joining with us today.
Thank you, Srishta.
So,
Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir. So now let us move ahead. Let me attempt to introduce our next speaker of the session. I am honored to welcome Ma'am Rupal Mehta, founder at MedMarvel Solutions. Ma'am realized the technological gap that needs to be addressed to make healthcare solutions more accessible to the clinicians and affordable to the patients. MedMarvel Solutions is touching and enhancing lives of millions of people by innovating accountable, accessible, and affordable healthcare products through advances in medical technologies for providing better than the best patient care solutions. Our participants are excited to hear from you, ma'am. I request you to take the session forward.
Of you here. Are you all able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you are very clearly audible.
Yeah, thank you so much. I first of all would like to thank the Think India team for inviting us here amongst this Austin audience. We'll just share a few glimpses from our startup journey and leave a lot of time for question answers, with our participants here. I come, just to give a brief of background about myself. I come from a very simple, humble Gujarati family, completed my engineering, got married, and then studied in the United States. And during the time of, Y2K, like year 2000, boom in Silicon Valley, and after pursuing my corporate life and grinds of the startup ecosystem in US, while developing solutions back in 2005 for hospitals and imaging centers, I established my first company, Everest Medical Solutions, with a 2.5-year-old toddler and a 3-month-old baby in my lap. And after establishing the company, moving operations back in India, I had this dire desire to contribute to Indian healthcare ecosystem. And in my journey, I met Dr. Nilesh Kurvale. He's an epilepsy neurosurgeon. And we discovered a lot of challenges that the doctors are facing while treating patients with epilepsy. And they have to manually analyze CT, MRI, PET scan images, and yet are not able to correlate the functional information, metabolic, structural, anatomical information of the brain, which leads to a non-conclusive diagnosis for patients, right? They have to continue with medication, anti-epileptic medicines for prolonged 20-25 years. And the doctors are also, have to face trial and error, pharmacotherapy approach to treatment. So combined, we come up, with our team, we realized we can automate and simplify, right? We discovered a problem with the physicians. Our team, ideated over it and then came up with a solution which helps to automate and simplify this entire diagnosis process such that evidence-based decisions can be made by the doctors. To understand the glass-root rival problem, we thought it is very important, to understand, is it one doctor facing, multiple doctors facing the problems? And so we went and actually met 35-40 neurophysicians, surgeons across India, starting from corporate hospitals like Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital, also from Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital, which is a trust-run hospital, KEM, which is a government hospital, just to understand, it is very important before solving any problem to understand the nuances of the grassroots realities. And so we went to Nasik, Nagpur, Tier 1, Tier 2, this is rural India, meeting with the patients and realized that this is a condition which involves many stakeholders, many caregivers, and then we addressed, a solution. We are attempting, again, we are an early stage startup, and we are developing a solution which is going to address a huge burning problem faced by India today, right? 1% of population, which is 1 crore epilepsy patients are there in India. And out of them, 40 lakh patients require a conclusive analysis. They continue to have seizure in spite of taking medications. And out of that, today 3.5 lakh patients require surgery, and only 800 surgeries are being performed. And we realized that there is a huge treatment gap. We wanted to understand why is it that these patients don't get treatment. So out of the 1,500 neurology department in India, we realized that there were only seven selected institutes who had latest technological advancements. And also the systems were very restrictive to be used by physicians, limited to radiology department. Hence, evaluating all the market conditions, my team proposed a solution, right, which is very easily accessible by doctors and patients from any part of India to any part in the world. What our solution does is it aggregates all the CT, MRI, PET scans, video EEG automatically on our platform. And it does a lot of high-end computational analysis, image processing, using our patentable image fusion algorithms to generate predictive and prescriptive analytics, which is easily accessible for interpretation by neurophysicians. And this visualization into the brain assists them to examine the structural deficits in the brain in correlation to abnormal metabolic activity. They can evaluate neural network connectivity, blood flow analysis on a case-to-case basis, and all this in less than 2 hours, instead of 8 to 9 hours and few weeks of clinical decision-making. The precise location on the site of surgery helped them evaluate the white matter fiber tracts passing through the region of surgery to predict any deficits that can be caused due to removal of certain part of the brain. Hence, now with our solution, the doctors, physician, neurophysician, surgeon, epileptologists can confidently decide the extent of surgical benefits to the patient. This platform reduces time for evaluation, planning, and execution of epilepsy surgeries. This also, the kind of comprehensive treatment and clinical decisions significantly reduces disability-adjusted life years for patients and impacts the life not only of patient but also of family and other caregivers.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you in between, but actually your presentation is not fitting the screen size. Could you please enable that?
Sure. Okay.
Ma'am, it's the option from on the right side, just left to the cross. On the PowerPoint presentation, the rightmost cross, just left to the rightmost cross. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Is it better now?
It's perfect, ma'am. Please continue. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Sorry. If you have told me before, I would have I apologize for any inconvenience that has caused any of you. So with our so I was just talking about how there is a dire need for this solution in India, and we have developed in a manner which is now accessible to all physicians and surgeons from any part in the rural India on a pay-per-use basis at an affordable price, right? Because it is very this kind of systems otherwise cost a lot of money and prohibit neurophysicians and surgeons individually to use them outside of a large corporate environment. Of hospitals and imaging centers. So our solution will help the doctors to treat more patients in less amount of time, and that's where our objective is to reduce. Our objective is no seizure, no side effects for all the patients. And when we talk about impact, right, we say, okay, the patients will benefit, no repeat MRIs, no reduced travel time. However, today, beyond that, there are 35 lakh women who are suffering with epilepsy, and it's more devastating for women because it impacts the complete biological cycle from puberty to menstrual and pregnancy and entire menopausal cycle. And we have taken not as a social impact, but a responsibility to address the need of this, of our fellow citizens. We have a wonderful team behind our solution, which consists of neurophysicians, surgeons, radiologists, and we now invite a lot of the technology expert, clinical expert to join us to build this platform where we can collectively make a huge difference in life of people. We are an early stage startup, and we also have our shares of ups and downs and setbacks. And I would like to share a lot of our journey through question answers from the audience. That's more from our side. I mean, there is a lot we can discuss at this point, but we'll keep it more interactive, and I will leave you with the questions to be answered. I look forward to the questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your experience and journey are really inspiring, and the cause which you have taken up is really required in the present times. So now I would request the audience and the participants to kindly ask questions. You can type them in the chat box so that we can take them up.
Do we have questions?
Yes, ma'am. Let's just wait for a minute.
Sure. So while we are waiting for the questions, I had a few key takeaways I wanted to share with the audience here. Right, they're all budding entrepreneurs and buzzing. Entrepreneurship is a buzzword, right? My appeal to all of them is that beyond just ideating or imagining or coming up with solutions and for starting a company or ideating, look for problems, right? Look for grassroots problems. Not just by limiting yourself to the elite classrooms and labs of IITs and IIMs, but navigating yourself through the country, meet with the people and try to identify real world problems that our country is facing. And all of us agree that there is no dearth of problems. There are many opportunities in many segments, particularly in healthcare. Government of India has been very supportive now. There are many initiatives taken by under the NDHS policies. It's an area where all the brilliant minds can contribute. It's a good time, and I think the discovery of a problem is the hardest part for most of the entrepreneurs.
That is very true, ma'am. Ma'am, Sulekha has asked how many investors showed interest in your project.
Oh, that's a very interesting question, Ms. Sulekha. The journey has been so far very interesting, challenging. We have had many investors approach. However, there are challenges, okay? Particularly being a woman entrepreneur, only 2% of women entrepreneurs get funded in India. And in spite of all the support that we receive from NASSCOM and Startup India, and we hear all this, so it's a challenging journey. Oftentimes, we were privileged to have been offered investment by one of our esteemed institutes, and it was our call that we deferred it. So yes, there are serious inquiries, but materializing of funding happens to very specific, very few segments. And many women that I have talked with in the industry are facing challenges with funding. We are also seeking funding for our solutions, and only 2% get funded. There are often times people even ask you, is this to me, it was like once investors asked me, is this your hobby project? So, and what would you react to, right? And I just laughed at him and I said, अगर मैं hobby में ये कर सकती हूँ, तो सोचो मैं real world में क्या कर सकती हूँ? So, yeah, it is a challenging journey.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Also, Mr. Rajan is asking, any platform in Army?
Any platform in Army? Yeah, so there are solutions available, and our platform we envision it to be leveraged even for neurosciences, particularly for trainings in military training. So there's a military science of the brain which Army leverages, and the platforms like this can be utilized for similar use.
Thank you, ma'am. Also, Mr. Rohit is asking, how do we get compliance for acquiring healthcare data for applying ML techniques? What are the challenges in applying predictive analysis?
Brilliant question, and it is a very much this kind of solutions comes with a lot of responsibility. I would say one part is, yes, there is a lot of regulatory compliance that you would have to adhere to, and beyond regulatory compliance, also moral and ethic compliance, okay, by the companies themselves. Particularly for acquisition of the data, first is of course the patient consent from the patient. Then you anonymize the data which you acquire. After anonymization, there's also HIPAA compliance. There is a particular HIPAA compliance act that you can adhere to, which will help you to be more compatible with the current standards.
Thank you, ma'am.
Also, he had a question about challenges for predictive analytics, right? Particularly, like we work in the medical imaging field. So in medical imaging, one aspect of data of applying artificial intelligence, deep learning is also marking the region of interest, particularly for disease detection. And in that area, we need to have a lot of help from radiologists, right? And that becomes a challenge with respect to that time. They're often willing to help. We have had good radiologists willing to help. However, the time is a bigger concern and there's a large amount of data involved. So yeah, it is challenging.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Pranjal is asking, marketing challenges you have been through because of a totally new product. So what were the marketing challenges that you had to face?
Good question again. See, marketing challenges, I would say that initially we are focused on our peer-to-peer doctor network to begin with, establish the first 5 to 10 reputable, referenceable customers, validate the product with them, get their confidence, and also, do our due diligence on the results. And then pretty much go to the associations, epilepsy, WHO epilepsy groups. So there is a focused marketing, I would say, but it is a hard segment to cater to because you need very much of due diligence. You have to be very specific and careful about a lot of results that you generate.
Yes, ma'am. Gerathiophileus.
I love his question.
Yeah, he's asked, ma'am, how you got interest in doing research in epilepsy? Why you have focused on epilepsy while there are still many problems related to women which still exist? Does this problem fascinate you?
I am so thankful to you, Mr. Grit. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name, but this is my favorite question. It's very close to my heart. Right, there are many neurological disorders and many other diseases that human race face. However, when I got introduced to epilepsy, it is a curable or disease through certain surgical interventions, and for the patients for whom it's not completely curable, you can significantly reduce the frequency of the seizures. Epilepsy is a very chronic condition of the brain where a person suffers from social stigma. They have a lot of implications on their social moral behaviors as part of growing up. It impacts their education and socioeconomic condition. I mean, employment and other things. Now, the reason I chose epilepsy is because you have a direct impact on the life of a person if you're able to solve a problem compared to any disease which are managed, right? You take medicine and you live with it. And for women, because it impacts their lives throughout, right? And I mean, the reason I got more motivated is also when I go and meet with the doctors. I was waiting in a waiting room, and there was a child. There was a man with a teenage daughter. Okay, and they said, "Madam, aapko," I was just talking to them, and he said, I asked her what happened. What is the problem with your daughter? Right? I mean, you are in the epilepsy neurosurgeon. And he discussed his problem, and then he asked me, "Madam, aapko kya problem hai?" So I said, "Mera problem hai to help you. I want to find a solution, ways where I can help people." And then he shared his story about a teenage daughter where they were having a lot of social problems, particularly with women. And so उन्होंने मुझे बोला, "मैडम क्या आप solve कर लोगी? ये इंडिया में possible है?" And that really touched my heart. That touched my heart. I said, now it's more of a commitment from the patient to the patients. So
Thank you, ma'am.
I hope I'm able to address some of the questions.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. And also, there are two more questions.
Yes,
So,
please.
yeah, health products have to go through excessive regulation. So,
Mhm.
how you ensure that you don't compromise with them, but also ensure that you are financially stable? This is asked to you.
Yes, Ms. Richa, you're right. Particularly there is ISO compliances, and to sell beyond Indian markets, you have to get, C and other certifications. So for that, I mean, projects like this require a substantial funding. It is a national level challenge that we have taken up. So we are looking for partners who can help and support in financial assistance. Right, that what was the other part of the question? Regulations, and how do we ensure the we don't compromise. So we have to first we do a testing on a set of number of patients as a trial, clinical trial, and then we validate the results with the doctors. Automated validations, we measure that according to the global gold standard, acceptable gold standards for the based on the results, and then publish the paper or at least get it validated by the industry experts and the ethic committees for the hospital. So there is a lot of procedure to ensure that it is validated. And all this requires, money.
Yes, ma'am. A few members were asking to do research with you, so I hope they can get back to you through your website and LinkedIn profile, which we have shared with the poster. We'll share it with them if they ask for us. So I think we have to end for this session. Ma'am, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I would like to have one comment. I would love to collaborate with all the people here and anybody who want to genuinely contribute towards our mission, help us reach. Our mission is 1 million epilepsy patients by 2025. Please, help us reach us to those goals with your, intelligence. We can all progress together. And one message I want to leave with, all the intelligent people here is that entrepreneurship is a very fascinating journey. It is a very challenging journey, a lot of ups and downs and setbacks. But however, during the cycle, enjoy the process at each stage, right? Just like how in our life, every stage has its own importance, like starting from childhood, student life, and crucial is family and career. That is the period most of us are, I would not say struggling, but we are managing it. We are learning to manage in a balanced manner. And then from parenthood and also at every stage, make it a responsibility to respect the social and biological cycles of your life along with your personal preferences and enjoy the entire journey.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you so much for sharing your details. These would be very helpful for all the participants. And your journey and experience are very inspiring. And thank you for making it very interactive. Thank you for joining with us today.
It is my privilege and honor. Thank you very much. And thank you to Team Think India.
Now it is time to welcome our next speaker of the session. We are honored to have Dr. Pankaj Parashar, founder at Cutting Edge Private Limited. Dr. Parashar founded Cutting Edge in 2014, which is headquartered in Indore, Madhya Pradesh. Sir believes that technology should be simple and not complex, so that is in the reach of all people of the world, irrespective of economic status or nationality. The sole purpose of the company is to innovate and develop cutting edge medical devices for the masses and ensure accessibility for all. We warmly welcome you, sir. I request you to take the session forward.
Thank you, Presta, for this kind introduction, and thanks Think India for having me on board and giving me this opportunity to share my experiences and views as a medical innovator, and having developed a medical device and having it successfully launched in the market. Recently, Upal ma'am was talking about the regulatory things. I understand it's a tough market to be in, I think entrepreneurship itself is difficult, but being into medical entrepreneurship, then medical devices, it's just getting a grave deeper and deeper. So, without discouraging you, let me start with my journey about what I've been doing, what is cutting edge medical devices doing. So, thanks again for having me. I'm Dr. Pankaj Parashar. I'm the founder of Cutting Edge Medical Devices. We are a tech startup company. Can you just, first of all, can you all hear me out clearly?
Yes, sir, you are clearly audible.
Thank you. Yeah. So we are a medtech startup company. Initially, our roots are from the IIT Delhi ecosystem. I was after doing my MBBS and some work. I started my career in medical technology for my interest in the same field. So got into a PhD program at IIT Delhi, and then along with that studies, this thing have what do you call it as the entrepreneurship bug, which was already in me somewhere, troubling me since my early medical school days when I developed a medical device, wanted to bring it to the people, but due to unfavorable conditions, I could not bring that. So this time I was there at IIT Delhi and started this new project. We are now a medtech startup company developing affordable healthcare devices for the bottom of the pyramid and are also now developing a comprehensive smart ecosystem around these medtech devices, creating an ecosystem for predictive healthcare. I'll just give a brief about what predictive healthcare is. So, for example, you have a device, you get a test done, and that device is a dumb device that just gives you a result. A smart device would help you connect with a smartphone and then through internet or through communications with the doctors could help you get a better understanding of the condition. But predictive healthcare is when, based on the experience of the doctors, medical experts, when those results which the device has given are coming back as predictions, what the disease is going to be like, what the prognosis and all that. So that is what is going to be predictive healthcare. So this is the next big thing. Reason being, one, we don't have that many expert doctors in the country as well as the world. One. Second thing is it is unnecessarily overburdening the present medical fraternity, which has more important work of doing their highly skilled jobs instead of just giving predictions. Yeah, this is the disease and it's going to go this way. Let the artificial intelligence and cloud computing and machine learning do the work. So that is where this predictive healthcare comes into place. But the problem with predictive healthcare and AI-enabled healthcare is that we don't have data. Probably just recently, Rupal ma'am might have talked about that they are creating a database for the predictions of all those the scans that they want. So they need scans for that. So the unfortunate thing is, for India, if I want to develop a predictive healthcare algorithm or something like that, so what would I need is data sets. Do we have them? No. So what do? We buy the data sets from the US or the European countries and then apply those data sets on our population. A white person's data or a 6.5 foot tall black African person's data, how would it be matching anyway to an Indian? So there is a lot of gap that although we are moving towards a digital economy, digital healthcare and everything, there's a huge gap where we need to work on. Like in CT, MRI and all these scans, companies like Rupal ma'am's company are doing it. So now comes the where the diagnostics, point of care diagnostics, where we have started venturing into. We initially started ourselves as a medical device company and now have understood the importance of this and the capabilities that we have, that we are already generating clean, hyper-local, good quality data. So that's why now we are looking at why not pivot to a larger comprehensive solution instead of a unified narrow range solution. So we offer both. If you want a diagnostic device, we have that. Or if you want a comprehensive solution, we offer that. So that is what we have grown our roots, broadened our base, so that there are less chances now of toppling. So that's the initial journey introduction about us. So how this started? Way long back, decades ago, when I was an undergraduate medical student, I was during my MBBS itself. I was very much what should we call that? It's not the right word to call. Yeah, but I love technology. I'll bring back to the normal terms. Yeah, I love technology, and and saw the misery of patients who live in the bottom of the pyramid. A small ailment brings the person living in the deepest villages, remotest villages to a city and losing his wages, livelihood, family, and everything, and staying outside the hospital where his or her relative is admitted. This is a misery that even in 2020, when we have such a huge economy in top five economies of the world, and we are boasting of all these things, and still we have that problem. So, what is that can help? So that's what moved me from hardcore medicine towards applications into medical technology. Then I started working on a medical device which was way far ahead of its time. Surely I can call it, because we were trying to transmit various vital parameters of the patients on a 2G internet connection, not even 2G. 2G is just a recent thing. On a CDMA or a CDMA in the form of an SMS. I'm talking about early 2005 and 6. So this is when my initial journey started. But yeah, there was totally a new thing. I'm from Indore, so a person, hardcore doctor coming into talking about technology was not properly bought by people. Experts did not buy that. Yeah, it's a good thing that you're doing, but yeah, concentrate on your studies. Convincing family for that, that was again a thing. But fortunately, my parents understood it. Then funds. You can't get into any new things without funds. How to get those funds? So fortunately, what happened was I was so much into this research and innovations that I used to fund my own research. I didn't ask my parents because I only asked my parents for pocket money, but not more than that. So I used to fund my own research. I used to take tuitions. I used to take classes for my juniors, not from the same MBBS classes, but from other colleges. Then the fees that I used to get would help me in my these R&D endeavors. But that was not still sufficient to develop a medical device. So 2006-7 was a time when Silicon Valley was already bubbling with entrepreneurship, startups, and everything, but India was still far way ahead behind that. No concept of that. Yeah, Delhi and Mumbai had few nuclei that were bubbling up, like Indian Angel Networks was formed. Then the IAN was there, and some other agencies were also there, but they were very few and had practically no investments in India. They were just people gathering up for entrepreneurship. In those tough times, still I was secure some funding from the government, from the Department of Science and Technology, made a proof of concept of what I was thinking of in those tough times with no technical, not no, but yeah, very limited technical knowledge. With some help from local companies and experts, I was able to show a proof of concept. We could transmit some of the vital parameters in the form of an SMS and reconvert that back into digital data. So, but then it was a bigger challenge now, more funding. So, but it could not be done. Funding opportunities were not there. People were not ready to listen to a doctor talking about communication technology, and yeah, the venture died because that was, I think, way ahead of its time because there was no internet. If internet was there on phones, things would have been easier. But yeah, still, it made me learn a lot of things. Means that was a great learning experience. And the best part is I failed because failures teach you more than what successes do. So that failure made me understand why did I fail. Then I thought a lot about why did I fail. So all my weaknesses that I had, I converted them into my strength. Yeah, okay. You are a doctor, you can't change it now. I was a doctor then. So why not venture into technology field? That's a growing thing. So had already interest about courses in technology. IIT Kharagpur had a course in that MNSC, but they had some prerequisite of having 12th as maths. I was from the state board, so no opportunity to have a 12th maths, 12th board again maths after MBBS. So then I came to know about this PhD program in biomedical engineering from IIT Delhi. It was run by IIT Delhi and AIMS together. What better could I have asked for? Applied for that, first time got rejected. Second time again applied that, and that time I got selected. And then converting my weaknesses into strengths. The other weakness that what I found out was that the technology that I was working on was way beyond my comprehension skills. So this time the technology should have rather I should have a better control on the technology. So nothing thinking this way, but yeah, I started my journey at IIT Delhi, and then suddenly when I was there, during my stay there in IIT Delhi, my sister she was diagnosed with pregnancy-induced hypertension condition when develop high blood pressure during pregnancy. So that leads into one of the most commonest causes of maternal deaths across the world, that is called as preeclampsia. So her doctor advised a regular microalbumin test, or rather a protein test in urine for the last 3 months of her pregnancy. Though being from a caring and hoarding family, it was difficult for every week to collect your urine in the morning, keep it in the fridge because the sample would be collected by the lab at around 11 o'clock. So a morning urine kept till 11 o'clock. You have to keep it in the fridge if it's a summer season, and then send it back to the lab. The next day, the lab will give you a report and then go to the doctor. This was a very tedious thing for even her. So she said, ask me, Bhaiya, do we have something that I can do the test at home? And this was a big trouble to me because I had a big responsibility. I couldn't suggest her anything. So worked a lot, could not find anything reliable that she could do. So said, okay, continue with what your doctor has said. Bear the trouble. I can't help you in this. So that is where I found out a huge gap, that outside our pathology lab, we don't have anything to detect any conditions early. What mechanisms or what modalities we have are all for late detection, which detect very late when the condition is already beyond control. So what's the use of that? And 1 billion, more than 1 billion people in India live outside the cities. So what are we doing? This is a huge gap that needs to be addressed because this is our problem. Our problem means it's India's problem. Why would an American company or a European company come and solve this? They would come and solve only for monetary gains. But it's our problem, so it's our duty to solve it. And unfortunately, we are in a bad crisis situation, mind it, because we depend upon imports for taking care of our healthcare needs. 80% of our healthcare needs are fulfilled by imports. In any call for any bad situations with any country exporting those equipments to us, and if we have right now with some of our neighbors, then this could become a double-edged sword for us. Anti-war front, as well as applies. Found this lab, started working on that. It was in 2013 when I made my first proof of concept. If you allow me to show that proof of concept, can I show that?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Yeah. So, are you able to see? Yeah, yeah. Can you see my slide? Yeah. Is it visible?
Sir, it is loading. Yes, sir, now it
Yeah.
is visible.
Thank you. So, this is the first proof of concept of the concept that I estimating proteins in urine. So this was made up of cardboard and was a device that could help in early detection of kidney diseases and high-risk pregnancies just by a urine test, which normally you get it done at a path lab, but this could be done in the comforts of your home or your doorstep or even in the remotest villages. So this is where my journey of entrepreneurship again started. This time, I was the right person at the right place at the right time. And the technology that I was working was also right enough that I had a control over it. Then started my, then I went in again as a student, went in to this. I got a lot of support from IIT ecosystem and then applied for funds, grants. So this time, this was the new government. The paradigm shift changes happened during this new government's era, and we got support from this. There is an agency called as BIRAC, Biotechnology Industrial Research Assistance Council, and they supported us for converting this proof of concept into further products. So then the journey started. We started there we got an incubation in IIT Delhi, then worked, formed a team. Then I'm fortunate that that same team stays with me even after 6, 7 years of struggle. And we are now a very closely knit team. Instead of a team, we are more like a family. And then started working, developed multiple prototypes. This was the next version where from this we started working on microcontrollers and making more accurate readings, and then this version, then this version. The biggest problem that we faced was we were doing something new, and we had no support for that. Because it was not an incremental innovation, because I had no information what the company, the Siemens or the Beckman Coulter or the Hitachi Roche do it in their electronic devices or their lab auto analyzers. So everything we had to do was de novo or new from our side. So it was a challenge, kept on working. It took around, even to stabilize the readings, it took us around 8 months of hard work to stabilize and make the readings that if you put a sample and it stays horizontal, the line stays horizontal, it does not drift upwards or downwards. So this was there was a lot of innovations in electronics, software, with the firmware that we made for that, and then the reagents, that was the important aspect of this. That was also very much important. We made it all together new reagents. So that was a huge challenge for us because we had nothing to look up to that, yeah, whether we are doing it right or not. Everything came back to me, and I had nothing to look up to. But still, the only thing that we had was our results are coming correct or not. So that is how we kept on moving. It was a tough journey, but fortunately had a good support from my team. Really thank them, and thanks from BIRAC that helped us sustain all these years. Then the next version now you're seeing the product name is Scintilla here. Then the next version we found out some more utility that there should be a printer on that. This was that version. Then final product, this is the final product that we have in the market. Now it's called a Scintillum. From Scintilla, it's Scintillum. So there was a problem again when we were looking for registering a trademark for the product as Scintilla. Then we found out that it was already taken by a huge multinational company making portable X-ray machines. So that's what we had to change that, rename it. So that's was the entire journey of learning everything in and out. So sorry, I'm not just now. Hello, yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
No,
It
it's
was
yeah. So that was when the entire journey was for the product development going on, and then the important aspect that was the regulatory clearances. Because as a college project, it would have been very good. I could have got my thesis and everything with flying colors, but it was not for a college project or something like that. It was a product. So it took us around the next 2 years, 2.5 years for validation. We went for validation at AIIMS, Government Medical College Indore, and NABL accredited labs, like Madam was saying, that we have to compare this with the industry gold standard, that whether it's going on correct or not. So that was what we had to do. We did it. Then the most important aspect, it's a regulated medical device. And respecting the laws of the land, it could have been that we could have started selling without the regulatory clearances, because the easiest thing, we didn't know that we are a startup, we don't know that. So that was an excuse, but we said no, we don't want any allegations at any point of time. So we waited till we had the regulatory clearances. It's a Class B IVD device. So we got the regulatory clearance from CDSCO, then State Licensing Authority in MP. And I'm very happy to inform we are the first company in the state of Madhya Pradesh to get a medical device license for Class 2 IVD devices. So this is an achievement in itself. So we are just receiving it. We just received a few some time back, and now we have just got into the market. So the journey has been a roller coaster ride. I love the entire journey. Has been a great journey. Innumerable times when I was on the 7th, 9th, and whatever clouds you say, and sometimes I was in the deepest frustrating and saddening events because of this. Messed up with my entire life, career, and everything for this to stay. But now what I see as a journey is seeing color. It's seeing success now. And now what I see is, now we are very close to our main mission, that we can bring this device to the bottom of the pyramid. And the best part is the cost, because it's an indigenous technology, we are having ample profits. Then even then, the cost per test is 1/6, yes, 6 times less than that what you have to pay in the market. So that is what a game-changing role local means indigenous innovations can have for the healthcare ecosystem. So it's a tough road, but the journey is worth doing it. The returns are huge, not only monetary, but the satisfaction that you have, that yes, I have created something that's just not an app, just not a program. It's something tangible and can make a big difference in someone's life. So this device has a huge potential. More than 31 crore people in India alone are vulnerable to kidney damage and high-risk pregnancy. So we can help them and make a big difference in the lives of these people, economy of the country, and making Atmanirbhar Bharat even in Swasthya. Thank you very much for having me, and thanks for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. It is an honor to hear from you. And it was amazing to learn about your experience and the challenges you had to face, the way you overcame them. It was really a good session. Thank you for inspiring our young audience. I would request the members and the participants to kindly drop your questions, if you want to ask any, in the chat box so that we can take them up. Sir, I wanted to ask one thing.
Yes.
That how did you struggle to make the device cost effective? Like a lot of investment, after a lot of investment, and the process is very expensive. So how did you work to make it cost effective?
See, yeah, that's a very valid question, and I've been answering it quite often. See, the cost aspect in this is that, first, it's an indigenous product. We didn't have to hire very costly team to do the work, like which multinational companies have to do it, because it's a lab ship. Lab ships need a lot of fuel to run. Whereas a small boat, as a startup, we had all the agility and the expertise we just needed. So that's how we could reduce our R&D costs. Most of the R&D costs, the part of the R&D team, I used to lead them, both the electronics and hardware part as well as the wet lab part. I used to handle that. And then using, so what we have done basically in these devices, it's basically a nephrometer. Nephrometers are very costly equipment. And what we have done is removed all the frills around it, made it to do only one work, and the work that it is supposed to do, it's doing the best. So reduce the, I believe, as I said, the technology should be simple. Putting in so many things into a small box just complicates it. What I think is, if you want to go to the masses, a healthcare worker can't handle 10 aspects in a single device. For a health worker, it has to be simple. These devices have the capability of being as useful as for the healthcare worker at the bottom of the pyramid, or a expert doctor in the city. So this is what we have segregated the expertise level in the devices. Then reduce the cost and complexity which adds into that. And third is kept our expenses to the lowest, because the reason, one thing more, is we could not get much funding. Indian investors community is not as much as risk taking as the Silicon Valley or the others, that they could have invested in an early stage medical device startup. Everyone supported us. Yeah, you are doing a good job. Yeah, but we need to see some traction. So some traction, which is a small word, but means a lot. So we survived on grants, and I was very fortunate to get a few of my friends and some investors, some high net worth individuals who believed in me and what I'm doing, and get investments from them, and that's how we are surviving. So we have kept on a lean model. We are very much, the team size is very small. One person does multiple work. That's how we have reduced the cost of development. And the regulatory, we did not go for consultants for that, because consultants charge around 15 lakh rupees to 20 lakh rupees. Everything we did that on our own. So that's how we saved a lot of cost. So that's how now I'm capable, me and my team is capable enough of helping other startups, guiding them through the regulatory clearances. We can do that for them. So that is what we have gained in this entire journey. That has helped us keep the cost of the device low. And the next thing is marketing aspect. We are playing in numbers. We don't want 10 devices and we have earned the entire research cost that we are putting. What we want is 20,000, 1 million, 10 million tests done. That's how we would be recuperating our costs. So that is how we want to play in numbers instead of cost.
Thank you, sir. We have got a few questions in the chat box here, so I would like to take them. Sir, how to implement idea into product? Mr. Balvinder Pal Singh is asking.
Okay. So how to implement idea into product? Yes, an idea is just an idea, and it's a proverb saying that ideas are a dozen a dime. That you get ideas for nothing. You can get 1,000 ideas every day, but the number of those that you implement, that make a big difference. You may have sometimes idea better than Ola, Uber, or anything like that, but if you don't implement, it's just an idea. It's a whim. So it's a very difficult task to implement it. You have to have a strategy. You have to have the courage. You have to have the perseverance. 7 years, January 2013, it's going to be January 2021. So 8 years of perseverance, and then we are seeing success. So that is what you have to have: a committed team, decent funding support. No doubt, no one can discount the investment part into that. So right now, fortunately, this is a time when government is very much proactive in funding. So this is a good time to many opportunities for funding that you can look for. We also receive from BIRAC, Millennium Alliance, Ministry of IT. So many funding sources that we have to leverage, and friends and other investors. So that's what we have been surviving on. So these are the things that we need to implement, and indomitable courage and self-belief. That is only the thing that's going to keep you going, because everyone other than you is going to say that this product is not going to work. What use does it have? Even one of my investors, he's a friend of mine, said, Pankaj, there is no use of data. I said, in today's time, when governments are being controlled by data, and governments are being, who's going to be the next president of an XYZ country is being decided by data, and you are saying that data has no value. So everyone is a naysayer, a no-sayer. So you still have to have that own confidence in yourself for that implementation. Forget everything. All the things, follow up if you have that confidence in you.
That's very true, sir. Miss Harini G is asking, what is the cost of the portable device you have created and when did you register for your company?
First, let me start with the company. The company was incorporated on 18th of November 2014. So this year we're going to be 6 years old company, and we are a DIPP registered company as a metric startup. So we have 10 years of taking support from the government as a health biotech startup. Then the product, the cost of the device is, if you buy in the retail, it's going to be costing you around 80,000 rupees plus taxes, and cost per test is around 80 rupees plus taxes, 85 rupees plus taxes. So this is for the retail part. But what we have done here is, when a new company, Indian company, a medtech company, people are less, were not that much interested. And the best part is we did not have an access to data with that condition. So what we have done is, now we don't sell the device to anyone. We give the device as a service, and consumables, everything is ours. The device is mine, the consumables are mine, the maintenance, the calibration, control, everything is mine. You just have to perform the test, pay for every test you do, and forget everything. So my device, if it is placed in your clinic, in your lab, or in your hospital, is a earning source. It's not costing you any money that has been locked into that. You do not need a regular maintenance and everything. We have come to that model, and that has been very much appreciated by the customers here that we have. So yeah, that's what we do.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Vishal is asking how to implement interdisciplinary science into your product.
Okay, so I'm an interdisciplinary person itself, a doctor now into technology. So I think that we need many more people who are hardcore into interdisciplinary sciences. The reason being, the problem that is, it's not that we don't have the talent, but the problem is, I'm a doctor, and let's say, for example, Shrestha. Shrestha is an engineer. We both work for a big company, and we have been assigned a task to develop a product. Now, I don't understand what Shrestha means by some things, which she has as a solution. And what I mean by some of my problems, Shrestha won't be able to understand. So what this does is, we are never on the same page. So it always delays our progress. It's just like a two-headed hydra. So you have to be one to be doing that. So fortunately, or what you call it as a thing of the destiny, I had both the things. The two heads of hydra had the same head. So that's why it was easy to control. I, as a doctor, saw the problems, and my technical brain suggested solutions for that. And together, both of them implemented. So there was no much of a ego, interpersonal relationship, or those things creating problem for the ultimate solution. So we need to have a lot of interdisciplinary sciences, because we have had, my belief is, we have already a lot of basic sciences and application sciences. Now it's the time for interdisciplinary sciences.
Yes, thank you, sir. The last question that I would like to ask is from Miss Lekha Periwal. She wants to, sorry, I just pronounced the name wrong, Gire Theophilus. He's asking, sir, how many people have been tested by this device and what is its accuracy with lab test?
A great question. All my investors ask it. So thank you. So you may be a probable investor for me. So during our validation, because it's a medical device, so have to be very accurate, because lives are going to be depending on this. So there are phases of trials that a medical device or a drug goes through. First is a preclinical, second is a clinical, and third is the market validation. I'm just going into the broader sections. So when you talk about the preclinical trials, we had done around 50,000 50,000, half a lakh of preclinical trials to ascertain that our device does not have a drift, it's repeatable, and it's accurate. Those were done against the standard artificial solutions. Then came preclinical, that was a preclinical stage. Then came clinical phase. The clinical phase we did at AIIMS New Delhi for around 1,000 patient samples. The statistically significant figure was 500, around not even 500, it was 400 something. So we did on a 1,000 patient samples. Then we funded the project to AIIMS. That was a huge thing for me. I funded the project to AIIMS. Then second was Medical College Indore. We performed again 1,000 sample tests. So that was again a paid test that the comparison was done on an autoanalyzer, which costs very high per test. So we paid for those charges. And the accuracy that we have in comparison to a gold standard is sensitivity is more than 97%. That's out of, if we take the gold standard to be autoanalyzer to be a gold standard, our accuracy is going to be somewhere around 97%. And the specificity, that is how many false positives and false negatives does it miss. So we have more than 99.5% as specificity. So it is as good as a machine that costs ₹500,000, not ₹500,000, not ₹500,000 is just 5 lakh rupees. Around 50 lakh rupees, a machine worth 5 million rupees, 50 lakh की machine के बराबर is what our accuracy is. And the data that it generates, we have hyper localized data. We do not take the name of the person, the identity of the person, but we have the capabilities of accessing data. And now we have around how many? 30, 35 installations post this COVID lockdown eased out in Indore last, I think, 2 months since we started our business. Then that's what we have as a traction after the regulatory clearances.
Thank you so much, sir. At the last, I would just request you to share your information for people who want to connect with you on the chat. And
Yeah,
thank you so much for inspiring our young audience today. It was wonderful to have you in this session.
Yeah, it's
Thank
a
you,
pleasure
sir.
to be with all of you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Now, let me attempt to introduce our next speaker of the session. Think India is honored to welcome Dr. Sanjay Chauhan, founder at SH Piro Health. Sir is an experienced academic entrepreneur, currently serving as professor at Graduate School of Pharmacy, Gujarat Technological University, the IPP recognized faculty. The SH Piro Health LLP was founded in 2017 with a vision to build the most sustainable system in the area of healthcare and agriculture, and to develop products from the multifarious xerophytes that focus more on waste to value and sustainable development. It is a privilege to welcome you, sir. Kindly take the session forward. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Am I audible, Srestha?
Yes, sir. You're clearly audible.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So first of all, thank you to Think India for arranging this Startup and Innovation Week. And today is the first day. So congratulate to whole Think India team and the different participants. So it is a Sunday evening and most of are here to listen the some of the entrepreneurs and the good peoples who has worked into the innovation field. So I'm seeing there is a near about 45 people are there in these sessions, right? And thousands of people are live on the Facebook, right? So it is an honor for me to talk about the my journey as well as some of the innovation and startups. So first of all, I can take some of the points why there is a need of this startup and innovation in India. So just I'm giving the some of the statistics. So correlate with the innovation and entrepreneur and why India is required this kind of the initiations, right? So now looking about the whole economy. So at current, the Indian economy is near about 2.73, or maybe we can say the nearly approximately 3 trillion US dollar economy, right? Now, in compared to others, if you can see, the Japan is near about $4 trillion US economy. Then China is near about $9 trillion US dollar economy, and US is a 13 trillion US dollar economy. So now you can compare what is the gap and why this much of gap. We are near about 3, and Japan is 4, and China is 9. That is 3 times higher, and US is 4, near about 4 times higher. Right. So what is the gap, and how we can fulfill the gap? Second, if you can consider some of the states and the countries, they're having some kind of the economy driven. So US and Europe and other Western countries, they are the innovation driven economy, while some of our are the, we can say, the factor driven economy. Right. So that is another point. Now we are not going to in details about this economy part, but how we can strengthen our Indian economy, how we can reach. Now we are thinking about to reach up to $5 trillion economy, not more than that, right? So we are not in a competitive, but we are trying to achieve a $5 trillion Indian economy. And for that, what we can do? So first of all, we are very good as per the entrepreneur index, global entrepreneur index. The India is a 68 rank out of 137 countries. In that, there is a 2 things very clearly given. One, what is the strongest of the India, and what is the weakness of the India, strength and the weakness. So in that strength, it is clearly indicated the India, the population and Indian personals are very good, innovative, productive mindset. Right. They are the very good innovation product design and they develop. But what is the weakness? Poor acceptance of newer technology. Now we can say at present we are connecting with this kind of the WebEx. So this WebEx, Zoom, Google Meet is already available before the pandemic situations. It is there, but we never use it. We never try it. Why? Because at that time we doesn't realize it is required. So some of the times, what is the things we cannot accept the newer technology. But due to this pandemic situations, right now we have to accept. And now we are familiar and we are used to operate. These are the technologies and we can enjoy the things, right? At a time we can connect, at a time we can discuss, and anytime we can share the views, right? So this is the technology. So what is the weakness is accepting of newer technology. So as initially there is a 3 speakers are there. See, I'm the academicians. I'm a professor in pharmacy, as well as I'm also heading the University Innovation Council at present, as well as I have my own startup, right? And I'm also associated with the Think India, right? So as a single person, I'm the very familiar about the ecosystems, and I have seen what is the ecosystem are going to develop and what is the need. Right, so I'm here just giving the info, some of the glimpse of my startups, but as well as why there is a need of this innovation culture. So now I hope that everyone is clear about to strengthen the Indian nation. We have to look towards the innovation and entrepreneurships. Also, we have to encourage the peoples who are doing the innovations. As initially there is a Pankaj sir, Rupal madam, and so there is a guys there initially. So they have the different sectors, but we have to accept. We have to use the technology, whatever the innovators and the innovators have made, and based on that we have to give the feedback. See, where we are leaking, the Indians are very lacking to giving the feedback. We are very good to give the suggestions, to give the advice. But the feedback is different thing. Feedback, that means what is the possibility of the correction. And same thing, the innovators and entrepreneurs are also having the mindset to accept the whatever the feedbacks, and based on that they can go and ahead for the journeys, right? So I'm also involving in the ecosystems. I'm also managing the various government funds for the startups and entrepreneurs. I'm in the academicians. So either being the academicians in last 14 years, whatever the research I done in academic, now I have put into the commercializations. So it is a wonderful to share all of you. Just I'm sharing my presentation. Simple is there. So what is the yes. So the company name is a Sparrow Health LLP. So first of all, this name is decided before the 14 years, and it is comes into the picture, or it is in a black and white. We can say the incorporation, getting the company registration in the year 2017, 1st May 2017, right? So now we can see the when the journey started in the 2007, and in 2017 it is comes into the picture, comes on the paper, right, as a legal entity, right? So that is the Sparrow Health LLP. So first of all, I'm just giving the overview about the pharmaceutical startups, because I'm in a pharmaceuticals. So most of the times the traditional it is that whether it is a pharmaceutical manufacturing plant, retail stop, that is we can say the medical stores, and distribution channel partners. But that is a traditional way of doing the pharmaceutical businesses. But at present there is a innovation and focus area is changed. So now this whole pharmaceutical sectors are distributed in some of the smaller areas, the innovation. That is F&D, that is called the formulation and design. Particularly, we are formulating various kind of the capsule, tablet, nasal drop. Now, latest in the Gujarat, there is a Troika Pharmaceutical. They have developed a vitamin B12 nasal drop. You have to put the drops into your nostrils. So that is called the formulation and development parts, right? Then drug design and repurposing. At present, there is a COVID is a situation, so there is no any time to develop a newer drugs. See, to innovate and to discover the new drugs, lots of the scientific research is required. And instead of that, if you can go for the drug design and repurposing, already this drug is used in these indications, and now it can be repurposed or re-indicating to other purposes. So at present, that is we can say the Remdesivir and Flavivir. It is a drug which is already available for the influenza, but now it is repurposed for the coronavirus. But still, it is not up to the mark, right? But that is called the repurposing. So it is an innovation and focus area for them. Analytical services for the formulation and drugs. Nutraceutical product, now it is a very huge market compared to pharmaceuticals. The pharmaceutical market is grow near about 4% CGR, while in case of nutraceutical is grow up to 12%. So it is 3 times higher compared to pharmaceuticals, right? That is impurity synthesis and testing. There is a newer preclinical service, clinical service, community pharmacy, etc. So these are the newer and the innovative focus area for the pharmaceuticals. But most important thing is we have to understand between pharma and tech startups. The health related startups and technology related startups, they both are the different things, right? Most of the times what happen, any incubation, suppose in our university having the incubation. So since last 6 years you are doing the working on this and still you are not into the market. What are you doing? It is not like that. Huh? So it is a journey. Nobody understands what is the under development phase, and never it is exposed to the audience, right? So I have seen, as you told, in 2007 we have initiated the project initiated and working on this name is decided on this product. But on 2017, I'm getting the legal entity. I have registered my company. So, but nobody know about what is the last 10 years you have done, right? So that is the things you have to understand about the pharma and tech startups. So pharma startups, it is uncontrolled organisms. That means you have to develop a drug which is used for the purpose of recovery or treatment. So ultimately it can be consumed into the body. So what does body with the drug and what drug does with the body? So it is uncontrolled. We doesn't know, right? But in case of tech, it is perfectly determined. The path is different. Now you can say in a technology, so you have to make an algorithm. The first step is this, second step is this, fourth step is this. But in case of pharmaceutical, it is not like that. You have to take a pill, right, in your stomachs by the mouth, where it dissolves into the stomach, into the intestine, when it goes into the blood, when it is produced the action, we doesn't know, right? So it is uncontrolled organisms. Environment, if you can say, the poorly understand and natural, while in case of textile it is well understood and artificial, right? Approach is indefinite and random, while in case of tech is a definite and engineering. Regulation is a very most and important part. So in case of health product, as earlier Dr. Pankaj has said, recently we get a certifications for the class 3 medical device, right? So that is the regulation. So before you can start your startup into the healthcare, you have to understand the regulations, and all the health related companies and health related products are highly regulated into the market, and that regulation are changed day by day. So also you have to update that kind of the things. While in case of tech startup, it is basically it is unregulated. The cost is very expensive, right? It is near about $1 billion USD per drug, right? Huge expense for the pharmaceuticals. While in this tech is comparatively cheap. The high team is required, high salarized person, unaligned lab grounds and everything. And in case of technology, it is a committed entrepreneurs and hackers are required. So this is a simple difference between the pharma startups and the tech startup. It is also approached towards health related as well as the biotechnology related startups, right? And these are the regulations. See, in case of pharmaceutical health, so these are the regular Drug and Cosmetic Act, CDSCO, Schedule M, Schedule T, Schedule Y, Good Clinical Practice Guideline, DPCO is there. That is a Drug Price Control Authority, Pharmacy Act, drugs and magic remedies, narcotics. So this is a drug related. And suppose it is your biotechnology, then again is the Biotechnology Act. If it is a medical device, then you have to go for the Medical Device Act. So there is a huge, and the different regulations are there. So health startups are highly regulated, right? So you have to understand the regulatory requirement first, and then you can approach for the health related startups. So in my team, there is only 2 people are there, myself and my wife, right? In the journey for this Sparrow Health LLP. So in the mission is to develop a sustainable system in the area of health and agriculture. Here we have connected these two, health as well as agriculture. See, what is the relation between health and the agriculture? That is, we have to understand first. What is our lifestyle? How that agricultural lifestyle before we have and now what we have, and what is the impact of that agricultural food, agricultural products on the health, and based on that we have to develop the products. So this is our aim, and our vision is waste to value product from the xerophytes, that is called the cactus. Recently Modi ji has inaugurated cactus garden in Kevadia colony at Statue of Unity, but huge are there. So that is called the xerophytic plants. right? And sustainable developments. So this is my plant. I hope many of you have seen this, or maybe you have not seen this. In Hindi, it is called Nag Fani. In English, it is called the prickly pear. In Gujarati, it is called the Athalio Thor. In Hindi, it is also called the Hatha Thoria. Right? It is highly abundant into the Rajasthan, Maharashtra, and everywhere. Right? So, see, this plant is, we can say, the wild. Mostly into the wasteland, it is available. Right? And we can say it is a wild property are there. So how we can convert this plant into the medicinal plant, right? So our curiosity about the folkloric hematinic, anti-cancer and industrial utilization, right? So in the folkloric hematinic, the thing is that it is used for the TKDL database. It is highly identified, and most of the peoples are used as anti-cancer. And in some of the countries, it is used for the industrial production of fodder as well as the biofuels. So that is our curiosity. And based on that, we have go and identify what is the use of this. In India, the folkloric use is for anemia. And in India, there is approximately 55% of the Indian population suffering from the anemic conditions. So based on that, we have focused on the sources of availability, traditional medicinal action. That means peoples are using in our tribe or in our local peoples are using this food or fruit for the various medicinal purpose. So what is their medicinal purpose? It's phytochemistry. That means what are the chemical compounds are used, or what are the chemical compounds are responsible for the medicinal actions, and method of preparation and other industrial applications. And based on that, at present, first we have developed the product Hampoint. It is called the hemoglobin enhancer. This startup is recognized by the DIPP. Patent is filed under the examinations, and the trademark of Sparrow Health LLP as well as the Hampoint, these both the trademarks are approved, right? And now it is already available into the market. So it is a capsule in a form of medicine. At present, recently we get a testing report for the COVID itself. So within a 24 hours, this Hampoint is killed the 41% of the COVID viruses. And that is tested at Regional Center of Biotechnology, Faridabad, Haryana, right? So this is the product. So before we can launch, so these are the whole activities we have done. Evaluate the medicinal application based on the scientific evidence, traditional knowledge, scientific review, preclinical. That is the first, whenever you can go for any medicinal development, first you have to taste and try on the preclinical study. That means called the animal study. You have to carry out the testing on the rat and we can say the mice, rabbit, like that. Toxicity study, what is the higher dose are there? What is the if you can give the higher dose for longer period of time, what is the effect on the body? So based on that toxicity, hematinic and other activities are done. After the preclinical, you have to do the in vitro. That is what is the exact mechanism, how this drug act. We doesn't know, but how this drug act, that is you have to identify by the in vitro assays, right? So this is a HIF PhD. It is a one enzyme. By inhibiting that enzyme, your erythropoietin hormone is increased, and it produces the erythropoiesis, increasing the natural formation of blood. And IgE, that is antibody against allergic, against the viral, right? So it is produced the immunity. So that is we have done. And clinical trial. After that, you have to go for the clinical trial into the patient, into the hospital. and stability and prototype development. And everything is already evident into the various scientific literatures, right? So these are the scientific evidence are there, toxicity studies are there, preclinical and clinical studies are there, additional benefit studies are there into the scientific literatures. This is the novelty about how it is used into the management of anemia and immunomodulatory reactions. It is the results of these are the studies. This is the most things. Okay, this name of plant is approved under the Schedule 4 of the Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. See, after completion of your scientific study, you cannot put into the market. You have to take approval from the various regulatory bodies. So at present, this preparation and this product is approved under the nutraceutical product. And for this nutraceutical product is comes under the Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. And it is the plant name is given, the NAC fund is given, and what is the maximum dose you can use that is given. And it is approved, and based on that you can put into the market. So ultimately this hemp point facilitate the iron absorption, and this is called the mechanism of action, how it act, right? How it can produce the action. So it is also facilitate the iron absorption and transportation into the blood, and it helps to increase the blood levels into the body. So this is the whole pictures are there. It is act as a HIF-PHD inhibitors, facilitate the iron transport, promote the erythropoiesis by increasing the endogenous erythropoietin hormone, additionally act as antioxidants, and maintain the absorbed ferrous. So these all are the scientific evidence. So in pharmaceuticals, nothing can be put into the market before any scientific evidence. In our tradition is there, but we have to put or we have to carry out a scientific evidence as well. And for that, it is a huge time, money, and patience is required. So in the uniqueness of this product is 3 action in 1 capsule: antioxidant, erythropoiesis, and immunomodulatory. Right? Now I am talking about the fund. So government of Gujarat has funded 15 lakh rupees under the policy of startup policy by the Industrial Commissionerate of Gujarat. But at that time, I have applied into Dharamsir Desai University Incubation Center. But still, the university has not allowing me to utilize the fund. And still, fight is going on with the government, with the university. So now, as a being the entrepreneur, you have to also face these are the things. Government allocated the fund to the university, that is the incubation center, but incubation center are not giving the fund to you. What are you doing? So at present, I'm also heading the Gujarat Technological University Innovation Council. After taking the charge of director of this Innovation Council, I have designed a policy, and within a 2 month, after application of this, and if your startup is approved, so within a 2 month you can get the approval, and you can get the money in your account, because the startup mostly getting the difficulty in a 2 ways. One, about the expertise, that means the finding the right mentor, and second is the financial. So if these 2 things is available into the incubation center, then and the purpose and the objective of the incubation center is fulfilled. Otherwise not. So I have also faced a problem, but at present I am also managing the fund. So whatever the situation I have faced, so at least I cannot allow to other startups to face that situations, and they can like, because I'm doing these things because I have the another source of the income. I can manage the funds, and still it is under the development. but still the fight is going on. So at last, what is the thought you can have as a startups? ना जीतने का प्रेशर, ना हारने का डर, सिर्फ समस्या का समाधान ढूंढने का जुनून. So this is the exact definition or the exact way of the entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is not that who develop the product and become a multimillionaire. The entrepreneur itself a person who always finding the solution of the problem. I always mention one of the quote in all my speaks are there. Before you can go for this initiation of idea, so how you can validate your idea? That means whether my idea is commercializable, it can be scalable, it can be revenue generation or not. So you have to focus one thing. You have to remember these things. Customers don't buy a product. Customers don't buy a product. Customers buy a solution of the problem. Customers buy a solution of the problem. Say for example, what is the problem? Communication. I want to do or I have to keep a tight communication with my friends, family, relatives, right? But I don't want, I cannot able. So what is the problem? Communication gap. So what is the solutions? We can say the telecommunication, mobile, telephone. So that mobile is a product. But what is the solution is a communication. Right? So what I have purchased, I have not purchased the mobile. I have purchased the solution of the telecommunication. Same thing in a, we can say the summer, we feel the heat, right? Heat is a problem. What is the solution? Cooling. That means reduce the temperature. But what we buy the fan or we buy the air condition. The air condition is a product. But ultimately, what we are purchasing? We are purchasing the solution of our problem of heating, and the solution is cooling, right? So that is the things you have to keep in mind about समस्या का समाधान ढूंढने का जुनून, right? And at last, I hope I have shared some of the good information to you, and it can be good informative in the eve of Sunday. Actually, this is the family time, and most of are using this time for learning and understanding the startup and innovation ecosystem, right? So thank you very. You can be contact to me on my email address is sparrowhealth@gmail.com, right? And as well as you can also contact me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter as well, right? So thank you very much. I'm stopping the sharings. Now we can open the session for the any question answer. Shrestha, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It was very knowledgeable session for all the participants and the members here. As sir said, everyone who wants to ask any question, kindly put the question in the chat box so that we can take it up. Sir, I have got a question that can you please provide small information of Gujarat Technological University Innovation Council and how it works?
Yes, in Gujarat Technological University, we have the Gujarat GTU Innovation Council. It is also having the regional presence in a 4 regional center: Ahmedabad, Rajkot, Surat, and Vadodara. At present, we have the different government grant for the startups. One, which is the from the Education Department, Government of Gujarat, that is a student startup and innovation policy, in which we are giving the 2 lakh rupees maximum ceiling limit is a 2 lakh rupees for the student for their innovation and startups, as well as the 25,000 for their IPR supports, patent, trademark, like that. Second, we have the grant from the Industrial Commissionerate, Government of Gujarat, for the Startup India policy, and in which at present, recently the guideline is revised, and now the funding ceiling limit is 30 lakh rupees, 30, right? Initially it was 20, now it is revised in Gujarat is a 30 lakhs. And also there is another benefit in that, suppose any person is a woman as a co-founder or social impact, an additional 10 lakh rupees is also given for that. As well as if it is anybody is unemployed and is working on this startup, there is again the sustainable allowance is given to that innovation entrepreneurs. So that is a startup policy under the Government of Gujarat Industrial Commission. Next, we have the Atal Incubation Center, which is funded by the Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog, right? And next, we have the Design Innovation Center, which is funded by the MHRD. So these are the grants are there. In GTU, suppose any students are coming to us with any idea, so we can help them to achieve that up to 40 lakh rupees. So assistance is given for the product development, marketing, and IPR support. That is a patent, copyright, trademark, whatever the IPR related supports, right? So up to 40 lakh rupees supports are there. We have approached the I3 approach. So there is a two type of the students are there. One, which doesn't have any kind of the startup idea, but they have the willingness and power to do something. So that kind of students need some direction, innovation mindset, and thinking process. So we enrolled those students into our intervention program. And after the intervention, they have shifted into the intensity. So intensity program is for the students who have the idea. So directly they can enroll into the intensity programs, right? So in the intensity, what we do, we validate the idea, whether this idea is feasible or not, market fit or not, making the business canvas models, right? Identification of the IPR related approach, whether this thing is patentable, copyright, trademark, whatever. So in that, ultimately we groom the entrepreneurs into the intensity program. And last is the implementation. Implementation, that means we are giving the fund to them. We are giving the grants from these various sources of the funding agency. And in that implementation, we can help them to produce a minimum viable product. That is, we consider the MVP, minimum viable product, into the market. And based on that, it can be started some kind of the early revenue generation, right? And after that, again, you can go for the modification of your product after market feedback. So these are the approach we are doing, right? So you can also log into the GTU Innovation Council.ac.in on the website, and you can also get the information, right? So we are also, GTU is a partner and association with this Think India Startup and Innovation Week. Yeah, thank you. Next, please.
Yes, sir, truly said, as GTU is our collaborator in this event. Also, as sir guided, that those people, those students who have idea can go to the Innovation Council and then they get the desired guidance and investment for their startup. So this answers one more question, that if you are alone, then what drives you to take your idea further? So you should go to your Innovation Council. Next, I would take the question from Balvinder Pal Singh. He has asked, "Sir, can this fruit bear the cancer and can help in survival of an individual?"
Yes, it can benefit it into the blood cancer itself, into the leukemia. The initial testing is already carried out, and we can get the surprising results in that. It is increased the lifespan of the cancer patients, as well as the cancer who are under the radiation therapy. They can also use these medications, and they can also increase their life expectancy and betterment in the health.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any more questions? We have not got any more questions. So that would be the end of the session. Thank you so much, sir. Your journey is
Yes.
really inspiring, and it was indeed an honor to hear from you today. Now, I would like to present my vote of thanks to all the speakers, Professor Dr. Sanjay Chauhan, Dr. Pankaj Parashar, Ma'am Rupal Mehta, and Sir Siddharth Nair for enlightening all of us today. I thank all participants for joining with us today and making the session successful. I request all of you to kindly join us tomorrow for the panel talk in the morning and the evening session with speakers from startup and entrepreneurship ecosystem related to artificial intelligence. Thank you so much.